The Brother Instead. Written by Fairycrest. Read by Arashi. Amongst the number of games played daily by many players of the game industry, Genshin Impact is known to be one of the games that almost everyone knows. It was a sudden boom of popularity, not only due to its graphics and characters, but because of its gameplay and plot. Genshin Impact is an all-rounded otome game, in which you can select your character to be one of the two twins that got isekai'd into the world of Teyvat. You can be Lumine, the girl, or Aether, the boy. What made Genshin Impact so famous, despite being a romance-based game, is that it not only caters to heterosexual players, but also homosexual ones. Whether you choose to play as Aether or Lumine, you'll be given an option to choose your partner amongst the selection of different characters, regardless of their gender. The game's capture target also varies, depending on each region, and every choice made by the players can lead to them having the option to pursue a way out of Teyvat and go home, or stay with their chosen target for a new ending. And if you're an avid shipper, you may be allowed to pair two capture targets together. This unique storyline and game style of the game, as well as different side quests and main quest, was well received and played by many players all over the world. "You're telling me you know where my siblings are?" Alhaitham gazed at the blonde in front of him, holding a briefcase in one hand and pen in the other. His crimson hues studied Alhaitham's face with a hint of admiration before giving a polite smile to the Grand Sage. Alhaitham squints his teal orbs. He knows this person. Character, rather. Blonde nape-length hair adorned with a carefully placed feather, crimson eyes that tell many emotions at a glance. And that face. Oh, that fucking face. This man is Kaveh, a new character introduced in Genshin's new update to the main story. The man who crossed dimension after dimension just to find his missing twin siblings, who disappeared right in front of his eyes. He's known to be a successful person in their real world, who abandoned it all just for Lumine and Aether's sake. He is an affectionate brother and a very emotional person. He wasn't a capture target, nor was he a playable character. He was a big part of the story, but you won't be able to play or even capture him. This enrages a lot of fans, and Alhaitham was one of them. Alhaitham wasn't a gamer, per se. He doesn't play the game often, but he was known to be one of the bases of one of the capture targets in the game, the Grand Sage of Sumeru, whom he allowed the game developers to name after him, especially since the character was based off of him. So, he of course has knowledge of the famous otome game, and decided to play it after his character was introduced, which happened to be the same time Kaveh was introduced. Kaveh arrived in Sumeru to look for his siblings, and was aided by Tainari, and was able to find the twins, but was captured and used as a hostage by Azar, the previous Grand Sage. He used Kaveh to make the twins fight Alhaitham for the position of Grand Sage, but was killed in the end by Alhaitham himself. Now, the question why the game developers would ask a prince from a different country to have a character be named and made off of him, he doesn't know. What he does know is that when he woke up the next day, he was not in his room, not in his house, and he was called Grand Sage. He could only sigh in exhaustion. Was this because of that comment? He asked himself as he glanced at the mirror sink after a shower. Upon finding out that Kaveh was not playable, or even a capture target that you can ship to someone else, Alhaitham posted this on his page. "Can I take the older brother instead?" And now, Alhaitham took it upon himself to locate Kaveh's location early on, and take him hostage for himself. Why? For eye candy purposes. What else? Yes, I'll give the twins a heads up. Kaveh's eyes squint in suspicion as he glances at him, but Alhaitham paid him no mind, not giving him assurance, nor suspicion, and calmly walked side by side with the man. Affection, +5. Alhaitham halted in his steps. He glanced at Kaveh, who also paused, and looked at him in confusion, tilting his head to the side, causing his blonde hair to sway. Affection, +10. What? Alhaitham thought, looking around Kaveh. Sir? Kaveh asked. Oh, what's your name, by the way? Alhaitham. Alhaitham trailed off, glancing at the blonde, slender fingers that folded under his lips as he thinks. Affection, +5. Alhaitham, huh? Mine's Kaveh. Kaveh beamed, as if clearing his suspicions from earlier, and gave Alhaitham a polite smile. Affection, +30. Alhaitham slowly looked up, only to find a heart above his head, and a gauge that says 50. Wow, he's good, was what was going through Alhaitham's head, as he realized he was already halfway from being captured by a non-playable character. I hope the message I sent to your siblings is delivered quicker. Alhaitham woke up to Tevat a few days before Kaveh arrived, and the twins arrived in Sumeru. It gave him enough time to plan what to do. Establishing connection with the twins came first, and then ensuring Kaveh's safety came after. Once the older blonde was secured in his office, then, and only then, did Alhaitham feel relieved. He gave a few instructions to Pana, his assistant, as to when the twins would arrive, leaving Kaveh and him alone in the room together. Affection, +5. Thank you so much for initiating and reaching out to me. Affection, +5. Alhaitham's grip on the book in his hand tightened. Don't thank me yet. Unless your siblings arrive here and you're sure they are okay, you are in no obligation to thank me. Alhaitham could feel the gaze the blonde was giving him, so he dared not raise his head, lest he want another affection point to be received. You're a very kind person, Alhaitham. Affection, +20. Where the hell are those twins? Lumine! Aether! Kaveh! Alhaitham watched on the sideline as the three siblings embraced each other to death, bawling their eyes out and crying their tears out. He let out a sigh of relief. His eyes darted to the gauge just above his head, not even reacting one bit to the twins when the two looked at him suspiciously as they clutched the letter he sent in one of their grasps. 80. The score indicated how much more he could endure before he did something impulsive, being alone with a pretty man in his office. Let's get rid of these blonde siblings before the twins would actually have a reason to slit his throat. Seeing the three having the catching up to do, Alhaitham figured he should clock out for the day and find a way to go back to the real world before his tasks back there would pile up. Just as he was 5 steps away from the trio, a hand wrapped around his torso, and warmth envelops his back. Mr. Alhaitham, thank you very much. Kaveh's crisp and clear voice resonated in his ears. Affection, +10. When we meet again, I'll be sure to repay you with whatever you wish. Affection, +10. Alhaitham didn't understand at first, but the instant he looked down, he did. His body is turning transparent, as if erasing any traces of his existence from this world and replacing it with the real Grand Sage of the game. Prince of Volans, Alhaitham, has been captured. Ah. He smiled in realization. It wasn't the Grand Sage Alhaitham who was captured, but him, Alhaitham of Volans himself. He gently reaches out to the blonde, in whom he now properly faced, gently lifted his chin, and placed his lips upon his. Don't cry. Alhaitham wiped the tears that fell on the man's crimson hues with his thumb. We'll meet again. And when that happens... Alhaitham wrapped his arms around the sobbing blonde. I won't let you go like I would now. Alhaitham awoke to the sound of his aide knocking on his door. Groggily, he sat up and glanced around the area, only to find that he's back at Volans. the people of the city bustling outside as he listened to the loud knocking on his door, a sad smile reaching over his lips as he felt the warmth in his body, like he was just embraced. So, it was true. Alhaitham could only sigh in defeat. Captured in one fucking day. How embarrassing. "Your Highness?" He can hear his assistant's voice from outside, to which he gave up on and gave permission to enter afterwards. Did you post something about that game?" The man looked panicked as he handed over a tablet. "What about it?" asked Alhaitham, who scrolled to the app where he reposted the Kaveh poster with his capture about wanting to have the brother to himself. Another post from the game developers was updated just above it. "Hello, everyone! We appreciate all feedback received from players all over the world, and we are so glad to know of your never-ending support and affection for our new character, Kaveh. As we all know, Genshin Impact bases its characters' appearances and names on consented figures all around the world. While we are well aware that most characters in the game have a real-life counterpart in the third world that we base the character on. Unfortunately, the person on which we based Kaveh's design did not give us his consent to make Kaveh a playable and capturable target in the game. The person based on Kaveh's design works in our department, and firmly requested his character be non-playable if possible." Alhaitham didn't read the rest of the post, and scrolled down to his own post. Just as he was about to delete the post, a comment from an hour ago caught his attention. "Call me architect. I did promise." He immediately clicked on the account and was greeted by a robotic, familiar face on the briefcase Kaveh carried back in Sumeru. He returned the tablet to his aide. "Get the jet. We're going to Argent. Right this instant." "What for?" asked the aide, as he sent a message of their prince's orders. "To get myself a consort."